Hello, 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 welcome back to Hunter Tune. Today we are going to be cleaning a D16Y8 with some easy off oven cleaner. Heavy duty, 3-minute deep clean. Destroys tough burned on food and grease. Also 200,000 miles of oil leaking Honda Civic engine. Let's go. So I picked up this D16Y8 a couple weeks ago and just got a full Viterra build in for it from Speed Factory. So we're going to be building this engine with stock bore, pretty much just throw this thing together. But first I want to get it cleaned up, and to do that I'm just going to be, putting some of this oven cleaner kind of all over this thing, and it'll pull up a lot of that grease and grime. You guys just saw what it kind of looked like before. Hopefully we'll get a good shot after the fact. So yeah, I'm just gonna go to town on this thing. Really kind of get in here with the oven cleaner. This alternator's shot. That's why it's still on here, otherwise I would have pulled that off first. I have a brand new alternator actually in the car that we're putting this engine into, so. And you know you got the right stuff when it makes you cough. This stuff's strong. Uh-oh, I might be running low. Alright, so we'll let that sit for a little while, and I'll get the pressure washer fired up. We'll just try to get this thing cleaned off. It's also a lot nicer to work on it when it's not full of oil and stuff. So I'm gonna get the pressure washer out next. Once I get that hooked up, the oven cleaner should have had enough time to cure, and then we're gonna pressure wash it off and then pull it in the shop, and I'll show you the parts that we're gonna be putting into it. Well, now that the camera is all wet, I got the engine cleaned up. This is like literally 3 seconds after I shut the pressure washer off. So you guys are getting a look at it. Looks a lot better than it did. There was a bunch of oil buildup and stuff over here. That's all gone now. All these little creaks and crevices, that oven cleaner gets in there pretty good. Obviously it's not the cleanest thing in the world, but hey, it's, you know, just a couple bucks and a pressure washer. Get this thing cleaned up good enough for it to go into my $800 Honda Civic. So next I'm going to get the air gun and just blow the water off of it, blow the head stud holes out. Yeah, and then we'll push it into the shop. And if you're a Honda boy, you know that this part of the block where it has the D16Y8, that's the only spot that's really actually got to be clean, so you can show all your bros what engine you have. All right, guys, so I got the engine inside the shop. I'm going to take the oil pan off and see what the bottom end of this thing looks like. Like I said, I got it for $200. It spins really free. I can just spin it with my hands. Like, it's very free spinning. So that's a good sign. Just got to take these two 12mm brackets off on the oil pan, and then there's a bunch of 10mm around the perimeter. And then we'll bust the oil pan off and see what it looks like inside. All right, so I did just get the oil pan off of the engine, and everything is looking great so far. The oil pan didn't have any like copper flakes in it or metal or anything like that, just some sludge buildup, as you can see in the bottom end. It is a little bit dirty, but nothing in the pickup tube. The pickup tube is clean, which that's another indicator where, you know, copper flakes from the bearings can get lodged in here. So you always want to make sure before you build one of these things, pull it apart as it was, make sure there's no metal anywhere before you give the guy money for the engine. I just took this guy's word for it. It spun over good, and it was only 200 bucks. So next up, I'm going to pull the pickup tube off, two 10 mils here, two 10 mils here, and then the girdle bolts I'm going to hit with the impact, bust the girdle off of the thing, check the main bearings out, and then we'll pound the rods and pistons out of it, and then we'll show you what parts we're going to put in it. I did not go in a crisscross pattern. It's fine. All the bolts are out. Now we can either hit the side of it with a hammer, which is what I'll do. A metal one too, not a rubber mallet. Make sure it's metal. And eventually it'll pop off. There it is. So here's the girdle. And then we got some main bearings that decided to stay on the crank instead of going with the girdle. This motor's probably just got a lot of miles on it, to be honest. This usually happens on high mileage engines. On high mileage engines, the bearings will usually fall out of the girdle or the main caps or the rod caps. They kind of just want to stay glued onto the crank, and I feel like the side, you know, the side load this way on the bearing ends up getting more this way instead of like sprung out, if that makes sense. I feel like that's kind of common on high mileage engines that I've seen. So yeah, looks pretty good so far. Let's pop the rods and pistons out on cylinders 1 and 4. We need a 12 mil, I think it is. Sorry if this camera angle sucks balls. There. Maybe that's a little better camera angle. I'm no expert. Better camera angle as my jack handle for my press. Okay, anyways. Take these nuts off. We're not going to be using these rods anyway. So if we damage them taking them out, who cares? As long as we don't hit the crank. So I'm going to take my ratchet, give it a couple taps. See? Use the rubber end of the ratchet, nothing comes apart. Use the metal end, everything comes apart. Obviously don't be hitting the surface of the crank, but everybody's like, rubber mallet, rubber mallet. I'm like, metal mallet, metal mallet. Yeah, these bearings all look pretty good too on the rods so far. Famous last words. So we'll pull this rod and piston out. Just push her on down through there. Voila, rod and piston acquired. Top ring is stuck. Probably ran mint. Number 2, these rings are not stuck on this rod and piston, so that's good. Not like I care, because we're replacing all of it anyway. Now we spin the engine over so the center 2 and 3 cylinders are accessible. This crank looks beautiful. Yeah, we'll pop these ones off. All is well with this Y8. Looks great. This engine probably ran just fine. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to pull the crank all the way out so we can clean it up before putting it back in. And then we'll test fit the rods and pistons. Alrighty, so I got the crank out, the oil pump and the rear main seal off. And this thing looks phenomenal in here. Look at those bearings. They look brand new yet. So yeah, I'm going to replace them just because I do think this motor is pretty high mileage. And you do risk spinning a bearing when they're old. Yeah, they might still have good clearances and stuff like that, but they don't fit as snugly into the rod and into the main caps. So we're going to take these out and we'll replace them with some new standard ones. I should probably look up the part number on these and just, you know, replace what was in here with another set of these, but you know, that's not what's readily available on Amazon. So now we're going to flip it over and hone the cylinders. I'll show you what the cylinders look like now and then what they look like when we're done. Alright, so I got the block flipped over and there's some oil just from taking this thing apart that's kind of in the cylinders. I don't know if you'll even be able to get a good look at what they look like right now because there's oil in there, and I'm kind of just gonna use the oil that's spilled as my honing oil. Save me some money. Yeah, they're not bad. The cylinders actually don't look terrible. Like I said, it probably ran just fine. So we got the hone. Might just put a spritz of something in there. Sorry if the lighting is absolutely terrible. My bad. I just honed it, you know, like 2 minutes. A minute worth of honing. Let's see what it looks like once I clean the cylinders out. And when did Walmart start selling parts cleaner instead of brake cleaner? This is the Super Tech parts cleaner. I don't think you can buy brake cleaner Walmart brand anymore. Damn, Daniel. Them things look brand new. Wait till I show you guys. And I literally did not even, I barely even did any honing. Like I just, you know, a minute's worth, something like that. Wow, that looks great. Why don't y'all come over here and take a gander? That looks good to me. I don't know why you need a hot tank or a bore, you know? Well, that's just wasting money, you know what I'm saying? You just hit it with a pressure washer and some oven cleaner and about a minute hone job and keep your stock bore, because this thing's been running good for 200,000. Might as well keep it going for another 200,000. All right, guys, it's a couple days later. I have my block all ready to go to reassemble. We did the cylinder hone and I just pulled the thing apart pretty much in this video, and I got it ready to go. I actually took a machinist straight edge to the deck as well. So we did the cylinder hone, and then I took some, honestly, like some 1000 grit sandpaper on my, believe it or not, one of my plates for my press. I just took the plate with some, I don't know if I used 600 or 1000, whatever I used, just to kind of scuff and get all the old gasket off of here. And then I checked it with a machinist straight edge with a light, and I also checked it with a 2000s feeler gauge all over, and it seems pretty flat. It doesn't have any spots where I can put the feeler gauge in. So I think this thing should be good enough for, you know, 300 horsepower or whatever I plan on running in my $800 purple marketplace sedan. So I got the crank out. I have this Felpro head gasket that I might use just because I got it for like $3 at Advanced Auto Parts when they were going out of business. So I might use it just because this is going to be a super budget single cam build. If you guys want to see a single cam go together the right way, I also have this one coming up very soon. So be subscribed and hit the bell notification and all that kind of stuff. But this one specifically, we're putting together with budget stuff. We got the Speed Factory no-notch rods. I have a set of Viterra pistons, ARP head studs, the rings, and a set of Brian Crower steel retainer and dual spring setup, or upgraded springs, whatever they are on single cams. So yeah, putting this thing together with Viterra pistons and Speed Factory rods, Amazon valves, which, you know, I bought this engine, he said it burnt a valve. And you can see some combustion leaking out, especially on this cylinder here of the head. And this head, I also checked with a straight edge. Everything looks good, so I'm going to clean it up with some 1000 grit or whatever. Just lightly dust it with some sandpaper. And we're going to throw it together with the Amazon valves. Let me know if you guys want to see me throw this head together. It's fully disassembled right now. And another reason I was like, man, this engine's probably good is because it burnt a valve. The bottom end is probably mint. It just, you know, started misfiring one day, and the guy pulled it out of the car. So yeah, trying to use the stuff I have for this setup. Anything's got to beat a Y7 with a blown head gasket. But we're going to be turboing this thing, keeping AC and a whole bunch of other cool stuff for like a daily driver car. And the next video on this car, I actually fixed the shifter inside the vehicle, so you guys will be able to see before and after a broken, worn out shifter. Compare it to a Skunk 2 short throw shifter with some poly bushings that I replaced in the $800 Marketplace Civic, and this thing's going to be a whole new car pretty soon, so pretty excited about it. I also threw some Skunk 2 coilovers in. I didn't film that, but yeah, just trying to do what I can, try to get some videos out for you guys. I know everything isn't always you know, electric cars and whatever. I know the Grom stuff and the, you know, whatever content I've been putting out lately isn't for everybody, but life gets busy, guys, and I get burnt out on some of this stuff sometimes. But I feel like I'm full steam ahead right now, and I want to get some momentum going on some of these builds. So leave me some positive comments down below. Get me motivated again to start doing these things. I have a lot of really cool stuff, guys. This thing's getting thrown together with a bunch of used stuff that I have laying around. But this high compression single cam, guys, is going to be really cool. It's going to be like an 11-to-1 single cam that I'm going to try to go 10s in the quarter mile with, using a super cheap like $400 twin disc clutch. And like, I have all this stuff. I've been hoarding it for years and I haven't put it all together, but I have the cylinder head over there. I had a bunch of stuff. Here's the crank that I have out of that Y8 that we just pulled apart. And then I have some of my other stuff for the nice engine. So just a sneak peek at some of that. But anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. I know it was probably boring just disassembling this motor, but don't be scared to tear into these things. They're a ton of fun, and they're not that intimidating once you get them apart. So wait for the coming videos. We'll put this thing together. I would have had it together by now, but I don't know where I had my set of bearings, just because we moved. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Family life and all that kind of stuff, so I don't know where the bearings went, so that's why it's not already together. And I'm like, you know what, I'll just make a couple videos with it instead of one big one. So yeah, waiting on the bearings to get here. They'll be here this week, and then we can put this thing together, at least the bottom end, and then I'll throw the head together and we'll make a video about that. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. I feel like these videos are repetitive, but hopefully you guys still watch, even though I've done a couple videos building these motors already, but better to document it. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Check out huntertune.com for all your parts and stuff like that, and hit me up, email huntertune@gmail.com if you guys have any questions or anything like that. I'm here to help. So have a great night and a better tomorrow, guys. God bless. We'll see you later.